All right, it is finally Apple event day. So let me summarize everything that went down. And I am actually so excited, happy about these new products. I was really looking forward to a couple of them. And let me just get right into it. So they started off with the HomePod Mini. So HomePod Mini is a smaller version of the existing HomePod. It's got a very similar look, but a new kind of shape design. It looks a little bit more like a bowl than it does like a cylinder, so that's a little bit different. It's got the similar mesh design, but you know, it's got you can tell it's a HomePod, but it's definitely not the same. It now has an S5 chip from the Apple Watch instead of the A8 chip that the HomePod, the normal one, uses, so that's a little bit different. This does have computational audio, and it will constantly be checking the environment and the song itself to give you guys the best possible playback, and it will be tweaking the speaker non-stop to make sure you get the best support. It will get Pandora and Amazon Music support. No word on Spotify, so it's probably not happening, so that sucks. I really wish that they had more options. No input options either, or like Bluetooth or aux, which it would have been awesome. I really wish they did that, but unfortunately they didn't. The Intercom feature is now something that they've implemented within the HomePod, not just the old one, but I think every device you can get will have this intercom feature where you can say something to Siri and she will repeat that message throughout your home or throughout the family devices if you want people to, you know, get going. If you want to just send a message across your house or something, that's really cool. The HomePod will also have a U1 sensor, so a ultra wideband sensor, which will enable it to give you guys handoff. So if you're listening to something on your iPhone, you walk into a room where you have your HomePods, you just bring it close by and it'll automatically switch over and give you guys the audio listening experience on that, which is pretty cool. Two colors, exactly like the original HomePod. You got the black and you got the white. The best part about it, though, it is $100 instead of the ludicrous $300 that the HomePod is, and it's available on November 6th and it ships on the 16th, which is really exciting. Looking forward to that. I'm definitely going to be buying that one. Let's talk about the iPhones. These were the only two main products that they spoke about in this event, the HomePod and the iPhone. So the iPhone was the big chunk of the event, and you know, it started off the same stuff. iPhone is the best, blah, blah, blah. But then they focused towards one of the biggest new additions, which they claim is 5G. So 5G has finally been implemented, and they spent too much time talking about it, and they said all this weird stuff. But 5G is still, you know, ways away, so don't get too excited about it. You're not going to be seeing too much of a difference. But the biggest points are, let me talk about them. So the iPhone 12 is what they started with, the 6.1-inch one. It's got a flat design, very similar to the iPhone 5S era. It's got the same kind of notch and the camera design on the back, but it's definitely the iPhone, but it's got a little bit of a different look and feel. There's 5 colors now instead of the 6, so you've got black, white, product red, green, and blue. No more purple and yellow. I'm kind of upset about the purple being gone, but you know, you can't do much about it. The new green is actually a little bit lighter. It's not like the mint green that was on the iPhone 11. It's a little bit more, it's closer to the iPad Air's green than it is to the mint green of last year, which again, I think is disappointing. I really like that color. It is thinner, smaller, and lighter by a couple of percent on every angle. And it does have a Super Retina XDR display with an OLED display. Finally, all iPhones across the board will have OLED displays. It's got an amazing 2,000,000:1 contrast ratio, which was definitely bumped up from the iPhone 11 and 10R. It's got twice the resolution of the iPhone 11, so it's got more pixels. And it's got a 460 PPI, which is a pretty big jump from the 300 and something odd PPI that the iPhone 11 was. And it's also got a big jump of brightness. It can go up to 1200 nits of peak brightness with HDR content. Fantastic. Ceramic shield glass. So they're saying that the front glass of the display is now 4 times as durable than it was on the previous version. They say this stuff. I don't know. We'll see when Zach from Jerry Rig Everything gets his hands on it. But you never know with Apple. They could be hyping it up and then setting us up for disappointment. And while 5G is a big factor, they are going to be doing smart switching between 4G and 5G based on what you're doing. So if you're just looking at a web page, they'll probably keep you on 4G, but if you're streaming something, they might switch you up to 5G just to get better bandwidth. They didn't mention exactly how the switching happens, but there will be switching just to maintain battery life because 5G does kill battery. Millimeter wave will be supported on all iPhones. I didn't see this coming. So if you guys haven't seen it, I did speak about millimeter wave and 5G in another video a couple weeks ago, but they are two different thing. So millimeter wave, they're both 5G, millimeter wave and wideband, but wideband is a little bit slower but a lot wider in coverage, whereas millimeter wave is a lot faster but very, very focused in coverage. So we all expected the iPhone to skip out on millimeter wave, at least the less expensive iPhone 12 and 12 mini, but the reality is all 4 models are getting millimeter wave and the wideband, which is good. They didn't skimp on it, but again, not necessary is what I feel like. Of course, it's got the A14 Bionic, no surprises. We heard all about it with the iPad Air event last week, so there's not much to talk about. It's faster, it's more efficient, blah, blah, blah. Then we moved to the camera features, which were really cool. It's got Smart HDR3 now, and just the same thing. Apple is focusing a lot more on computational photography. There are more improved sensors, so the megapixel counts remain the same at 12 megapixels, but it's got a better aperture, and it is a little bit better towards night mode photography. And the best part is that night mode is now available on every single camera on the phone. It could be on the back or the front. Everything is supported, which is finally good news because that wasn't the case in the iPhones of past. There are also time-lapse modes on the night mode, which look fantastic. Some of the clips they showed us, it looked unbelievably good. So videos on iPhone are just as good. Now, MagSafe is a new feature, not a feature. It's basically creating a new ecosystem of accessories for Apple. It is basically a magnetic ring on the back of every iPhone that will allow you to add accessories to it. So magnetic accessories to the back. You can use it for wireless charging. You can use it for cards. You can use it as a wallet. There's so many cool options. And of course, bringing in this ecosystem, they've added a bunch of accessories to this. There's so many that I can't even talk about them right now, but just go check it out on Apple's website. Lots of accessories. But the key one were a magnetic charger kind of a pin, kind of similar to what we have with the Apple Watch, you know, that dock, kind of that connector. There's one like that. And then there's a dock where you can actually charge 2 devices side by side, basically a air power, but only limited to 2 devices instead of as many as you want, 3 devices where you could place anywhere. They're kind of a little bit more specific with the magnets lining things up, which is a pretty good thing. But the coolest thing is that kind of folds up and all, so it's awesome for traveling. They haven't really put that on the website yet, but when they do, it'll be cool to see. That's probably going to be pretty expensive though, so don't think that it's going to be cheap. That's unfortunate. Talking about the wireless chargers, it does now support 15 watts of wireless charging, which is fantastic. Previously, it was capped off at 7.5 watts, so it's doubled the wireless charging speed, which is great. It does have it does no longer support, it doesn't any longer come with a power adapter in the box, nor does it come with earphones in the box. So they're completely removing those two, and Apple's claim is it's environmental, it saves space for them. Now, the thing is, a lot of people will say, no, it's clearly because they want to save money, but I say things can be two things, right? This is clearly motivated by money, but it's also true that Apple does care a lot about the environment, and they spend money and resources being very environmentally conscious on very different things. So it's not fair to say that they're just doing this to save money. Of course, it's a great point that they're saving money, but it's also really fantastic that they're reducing their kind of waste cycle. They're making sure that things that aren't necessary aren't put in. It's, of course, I would have liked to see a price reduction there, or maybe an option to claim one. Within 3 months of buying a phone, if you do need a charger, you can claim it. If you don't want one, don't get it. I think that would have been a better option and not make customers feel like they're being forced into this, but it is what it is. It's Apple. And, a cool change is that now that all these have changed over, you get a USB-C to Lightning in the box. No more USB-A. Doesn't matter which iPhone you get. Even going back to the oldest iPhone on sale right now, the iPhone XR, no more USB-A to Lightning. You get USB-C to Lightning on all of them. Then we came up with the iPhone 12 mini, which was a really cool thing. It's got the same display as the iPhone 12. It is smaller than the iPhone SE in size, which is really weird to think about. It's got a 5.4-inch display, so it's bigger than the iPhone SE display-wise, but smaller physically. It's got the same feature set as the iPhone 12, which is awesome. And Apple claims it is the smallest, thinnest, and lightest 5G phone available anywhere in the world. And the prices for the 12 and 12 mini are $699 for the mini, $799 for the iPhone 12. I'll talk about the prices a little bit towards the end of the video. Moving on, let's talk about the iPhone 12 Pros. So the iPhone 12 Pro comes with a stainless steel frame, similar to the current iPhones. The colors have been tweaked a little bit, so every color is a little bit different than it was before, but the color options you have are silver, graphite, which replaces space gray. You got gold, and you've got a brand new Pacific blue color, which is in replacement of the midnight green color that you got with the iPhone 11 Pros. It does have, that graphite is changed up. It's a little bit similar to the Apple Watch, and then the gold and silver are tweaked a little bit as well. The ceramic shield glass on the front is carried over to the iPhone 12 Pros as well, so it's supposed to be more durable. Apple says 4 times. We'll see. It does have IP68 water and dust resistance for 6 meters, which is ridiculous. 6 meters, up to 6 meters at 30 minutes. And this is also applicable to the iPhone 12 and 12 mini. So awesome stuff there. The sizes have changed. So while the dimensions, I believe, remain the same, the display sizes have increased to 6.1 inches from 5.8 for the smaller iPhone 12 Pro, and the 12 Pro Max goes from 6.5 inches to 6.7 inches. All 4 cameras now support deep fusion, including the front camera, and all 4 cameras now support night mode as well across the board. So every camera is basically going to get the same feature set now, which wasn't the case with the iPhone 11 Pro. Only the main camera got a lot of the features that we really loved. So it's also got a 2.5x optical zoom now on the telephoto instead of a 2x zoom from past. So not the greatest difference, but it definitely does get in closer. Personally, I would have liked the 3x, but I'll take whatever I can get. A really cool new software feature for the Pros, the Pro phones, are Apple Pro RAW. So it's basically raw images, but it still got Apple spin on it. So it's still doing Smart HDR, all that wonderful stuff, but it's also keeping the layers that you will most likely change, like the color temperature, the contrast, all that stuff is going to be on a different layer, but the Smart HDR is still going to be there. So things will look fantastic, great control, and you can do all of this right off the phone. You can edit on your phone in the Photos app, or if you want, you can, of course, take them over to Photoshop or Affinity or whichever one you use, photo editor app you use, you can take it over there. So similarly with Photos getting Pro modes, you've got more Pro video features as well. There's HDR recording standard on every lens, again, with every frame rate option. And it can now also film Dolby Vision HDR, which is something crazy. It can do it all the way up to 4K 60 FPS, so literally everything is covered. There's no mode where it misses out. It's fantastic. And it can also edit and change these videos on the fly on the phone. That's just speaking levels on the power of the A14 Bionic. And it will also show you live preview, so it's not something that happens post-processing. It is going to be live. You can see what's going on right on the screen, which is just crazy. Of course, there is a new LiDAR sensor, which is going to be used primarily for depth sensing, to map things around you to see their distances. The most noticeable difference will be improvement with autofocus times, especially in low light. But there are going to be additional features that help, such as when you use AR in certain apps, or if you can harness the power of that to create a lot more, to be a lot more productive, and to do things that you could never do before on iPhones, which is really cool. Now, there is also improved night mode shots. I believe night modes can now get portrait shots because of this LiDAR. Apple wasn't clear with this. They kind of just showed it for a couple seconds and moved on. But from what I understood, you also now have portrait mode, which you can combine with night mode to give you night portrait mode, which is crazy awesome. So that's kind of the big stuff with the iPhone. So the 12 Pro and the 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max remain the same price as they were last year. The iPhone 11 Pros were last year. So 12 Pro starts at $999, but it does get a storage boost. No more 64 GB, thank goodness. That was such a scam. You now start at 128 gig. 12 Pro Max starts at $1,100, so $1,099. Again, 128 gig. And the prices are weird now. I told you I'll go back to the price of the iPhone 12. So the iPhone 12 and 12 mini, if you buy those unlocked, factory unlocked, you actually have to pay $30 more than if you bought them with AT&T or Verizon. Even if you buy them with Sprint or T-Mobile, you still have to pay that $30 premium. However, that's not applicable to the Pro models. The Pro models are the same price regardless of which carrier or option you go with, which is crazy to me. And I think the thing is, these phones are more expensive, but AT&T and Verizon have, since they are kind of the leaders with the 5G here, they probably offered a subsidy to Apple to say, okay, if you sell the iPhones through us, we'll give you a $30 sub. We'll do something where you can sell it for $7.99, which kind of probably made sense to them. And all right, we'll sell you for $7.99 and $6.99 instead of the $630 and $730. I'm sorry, the $730 and $830 that'll cost if you're going to buy it factory unlocked, which is crazy. And let's talk about the pre-order dates. So the iPhone 12 Pro and 12, they will be available for pre-order this Friday, and you'll get them next Friday in your hand. The 12 Pro Max and 12 Mini, November 6th is the pre-order date, and this is the confusing part. I'm not sure if they said November 13th or 16th. They went over that really quickly, so it's either going to be the following Friday or the Monday after that. So November 6th, you'll get to pre-order both the Pro Max and 12 Mini, which is cool because we assumed that the Pro Max would be even later than the 12 Mini, but it is quite on the same day. So 2 pre-order cycles here, one for the 12 Pro and 12, and one for the 12 Pro Max and 12 Mini. Weird. I would have preferred it if they kept like the 12 and 12 Mini in one cycle and the 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max in one cycle. It just would make more sense logistically, but it is what it is. And that, speaking about that, it kind of alters my plan as well. So I was initially thinking about getting the iPhone 12 Mini and the 12 Pro Max, the smallest and the biggest iPhones. But now, since those are delayed basically by 3 weeks, I am going to shift over and get the iPhone 12, and then I'm going to get the 12 Pro Max as well. So I would have preferred the 12 Mini, but it's just the situation calls for it. So that's it for this one, guys. Let me know what you guys think about the entire iPhone event. What are your favorite features? What are features that you're missing? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys have to say about it. Again, as I say, I'm very excited about all the new products. I don't think anything really disappointed me. I just wish that maybe the product release cycle was a little bit better. All right, that's it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.